Hello, my name is David Salz, and I'm with Wireworld Cable Technology. I'd like to tell you about what we do. I've been developing cables for over 3 decades and have 5 patents on cable designs and a 6th patent on cable testing methodology. And that 6th patent is especially important because that's what allowed us to really create better cables. What we learned is that the only way to hear exactly what a cable does to the sound is to compare the sound coming out of the cable with the sound before it went through the cable. Using that method, we've really developed some very special cables that I'd like to tell you about in detail. The patented design that we use in Wireworld cables is called DNA Helix. And it's unique in that it uses the electromagnetic field to move the signal more efficiently. This turned out to be the biggest improvement that we could make in a cable because most of what goes wrong is caused by the electromagnetic field. So just to imagine this, to make a conventional cable flexible, lots of things are twisted. The strands are twisted into bundles and all the bundles are twisted together. What it took to really get more music through a cable in the DNA Helix design was to get all of those strands completely parallel. Simplifies the path for the music and actually allows you to hear much more. And as proof for that, when we measure the cables, they actually preserve a test waveform better than conventional designs. This is the most advanced audio cable design in the world. There's another issue that we always have to tell people about with our cables, and that is that they do not sound the same in both directions. We're actually not the only cable where you can hear some difference when you swap the directions, but what we've done is worked very, very hard to get absolutely the best sound possible in one direction, and that is the direction we mark on the cables and that we recommend you always use the cable. This directionality is actually caused by the grain structure of the metal. And as the strands are produced at the factory that makes the wire and they're stretched through drawing dies, it actually produces kind of funnel-shaped structure within the metal, and it just doesn't perform the same in both directions. We often have different levels of product for basically the same application. And what we do is once the product is designed, we can upgrade the conductor material. So for instance, most audio cables nowadays use oxygen-free copper, which is considered better than the copper that's in your house wiring. There are a number of improvements we can make over that can help you hear more through the cable. The first one is we can add silver plating to that copper. In fact, if we put on a really thick layer of silver, it works even better. So in the Wireworld brand, we call that silver clad. We also sell the world's best copper, which was developed in Japan. It's called Ono continuous cast copper, and it is the world's purest. So if you, for instance, compare one of our guitar cables that uses oxygen-free copper with the Ono continuous cast copper model, which sells for much more money, you'll absolutely hear improvements in sound. It's only a question of getting the best value in the price range. Wireworld guitar cables are actually very different than other guitar cables. In addition to the DNA Helix design, we've developed special connectors that actually improve the sound. Now, to begin with, one thing that is unique about them is that both the center pin and the ground path are single pieces of metal. This means that even under stress, like stepping on the plug, there's no way the two parts can separate and the plug can break easily. In fact, it'll actually bend a little bit before anything goes wrong, which is really much safer on the stage. The improvement in the connection that these plugs make is also due to the metals we're using. People are thinking that gold is a proper upgrade over the standard nickel plug, when in fact the difference between them in sound or what you can measure is extremely small. Very, very minor benefit. The only way to really make a much better and quieter connection is to use a thick layer of silver. So that's what we use on all of our better plugs. And with the silver plug, on everything else being exactly the same compared to the nickel plug, you instantly hear more music and richer tone. That gold plating that you see on so many connectors is actually a very thin layer of gold, which is actually not even the highest conductor, over bright nickel. That's exactly the same plating you'll find on costume jewelry. Now, it is great at resisting corrosion, but it just does not make that great a connection. In fact, the conductivity of gold is only equal to aluminum. The most conductive metal in the world is silver, and putting that on a connector makes a really substantial improvement. We use that on our XLRs and our guitar cables. If you want more information, you can visit wireworldproaudio.com or wireworldcable.com. Wireworld manufactures all different kinds of cables. Everything from USB, HDMI, power cords, speaker cables, IEM, headphone cables, all kinds of digital cables, even multi-channel studio snakes, utilizing superior technology, testing techniques, and materials that really improve the quality of music.